and I really love it so far. So, first things first, I just kind of want to talk to you guys. I know you've been in your journalism kind of unit here, but who here can tell me what you know about journalism? Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? I know you guys have learned a lot. Come on, come on. What do you think? Okay, so here. So I'll start off with softball here. My title is multi-skilled journalist. When you hear multi-skilled, you know probably a lot of different hats that I wear on a general, day-to-day basis. There's a lot of stuff that I do. So when you hear multi-skilled journalist, what's the first thing that comes into your head? Okay, going around asking people stuff. Speak up, y'all.
You're a field reporter with extra steps.
Yes, we'll get into that. Who else? Who else?
Don't be shy, guys.
Come on, y'all.
I just gave my answer.
So you see all of this stuff that I carry around. We've got one camera, 2 cameras, 3 cameras, 4-ish microphones, 2 tripods, a laptop, all kinds of stuff. So I've got all of this equipment, and basically what I do as a multi-skilled journalist at 13 is basically the job of 2 or 3 different people. So most companies call my job multimedia journalist. My company calls it a multi-skilled journalist. It's the same difference. Basically what that means is I am a one-man band. I record, write, shoot all of my own stories, and then publish them on the web later on in the day. So I have 8 hours from when we come in at 9:30 in the morning, so I'm a little early today. But when I come in at 9:30 in the morning, or 9:15 in the morning, we have our morning meeting at 9:30. We pitch our stories for the day. We have to have a story every single day of the week. You will pitch it to the managers. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, well, you got to come up with something else. And then if you can't come up with something else, generally they'll help you out, but they don't love doing that too often. So then from that point, if I'm set up on my story and I've got what we call a character and someone who wants to tell the story to me, great. If I don't, I got to make some phone calls. After the 9:30 meeting, generally around 10, I then have from 10 o'clock to, ideally I'll be done by 2:30, to shoot everything for my story, run back to the newsroom, and have it on the air at 5 and 6. It is a ton of work, but it's a lot of fun. I get to meet a lot of amazing people, like your wonderful teacher who I met when we were here, when I was here a couple months back, and that's how I'm here now. So that's the job in a nutshell. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I really love it a lot. Anyway, so anyone have any questions about all of that? Because I can get way more specific, but I know it's also like 8 in the morning, and like when I was your age, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
They're the same.
So you got all the skills, basically.
Trying to get there, but I have to have all the skills eventually, yes. What's
so
up?
do you have to edit like what you film?
I do have to edit what I film, so
That sounds stressful.
a little bit, but you learn to get it done. So at 5 o'clock, we have what we call a VOV. That is a voiceover with a bite. Most other stations call it a VOSOT, voiceover with sound on tape.
You guys knew that.
The thing we said at some point.
Right.
I'm a good teacher.
Yes, so I learned VOSOT in college. By the way, I went to the University of Florida, go Gators. I know I'm in the wrong place for that, but shameless. So, but the University of Florida is one of the best schools in the country for journalism. So if any of y'all are interested, I mean, maybe some future Gators in here. UGA is also a very good school for journalism, so. But anyway, so yes, so I have to have a VOSOT in the 5, or VOB as we call it for our station's purposes. It's just easier to say, and I just do what they tell me to do. And then at 6 o'clock, I have to have what we call a package. You don't know what that is? Package is basically, when the anchor is like, yeah, and now we're going to go to Anthony Montalto. He's live out at Fire Station 12, where a car hit the wall. That was my story yesterday. And I'm like, yeah, today the county commission approved money to fix up this wall after a car hit it a few months back, and yeah. And then they play a pre-recorded piece that I wrote, edited, and everything. So yeah, to answer your question, I do edit everything. How it works is we have our script writing program, and it's all different boxes. It's called ENPS. And we have a little line for our VO, and we have a little line for our SOP. And basically, you would push the soundbite as a separate video file. So basically, you cut your soundbite that you want, edit it, in, out point, drag it to your timeline, and then you would export it to the show. At that point, once the little line in ENPS flashes yellow a couple times, that means it's in the show, you're good to go, and you can move on to your next thing. At that point, just edit, 3-second clips for about, for each line of your VO so that the anchor doesn't have to be on camera the entire time, and edit that. After that point, it's cutting sound bites for the package, which is a lot more involved and a little more stressful, but that's when I really get to be creative, and that's the part of the job that I love the most. Just get to sit down and be creative, and that's what I like a lot.
Their next assignment is to do a news package.
Yes.
Now, I have a question. What editing software does your company use?
We use Edius. It's internet-based, it's by Grass Valley. Not a lot of people use it, but our company uses it. I grew up with Premiere Pro, so if anyone knows that, I really like Premiere Pro. I've also used, what have I used? Oh gosh, I forget what it's called.
What about Avid?
It's not Avid, but I've heard of Avid. So I know Avid's pretty good. You can do basically everything you can do in Premiere with it. So yeah, and same with Edius too. Edius is pretty good. I like it a lot. But yeah, so that's what I do. Yes, I do edit everything. And actually, in a lot of bigger markets, editing, there's a whole editor position. Well, someone will edit your package for you. And what I mean by bigger markets is when you go to Atlanta. Atlanta's way bigger than, the Macon market. So down here, I do everything. I do the job of 3-4 people. But up in Atlanta, there is a reporter, and then there's a photographer, and then there's an editor, and then there's someone who would write the web story. So that's 3, maybe 4 different people. So yeah, a lot of different hats that I wear on a day-to-day basis, but it's part of the job. That's where you start in the industry. And some people will stay in a smaller market their entire life. Other people will move. It just kind of depends on what you're feeling. If you guys watch our shows, you see Frank Malloy. He's been here almost 40 years, and that's just where he decided to settle. So, and we are very thankful for our really experienced team members, because I learned a lot coming right out of college. So, speaking of that, to get here, if you're interested in being a journalist, you guys are already in the right place. Starting out here in high school, I learned a ton when I was in high school. I was in the newspaper, but it was an online newspaper, so my newspaper teacher taught me how to edit video, and from there on, it kind of grew. College, I went to the University of Florida, and I got involved with the Innovation News Center, which is basically a full-scale newsroom that serves 19 counties in North Florida, which is insane to think about when you're a college student, because as they told us the first day, you are the news now. If some, if little old lady down the street, Ethel, says to her neighbors, well, I heard it on the news. Well, you're the news now. So, and you get to do that in college. It's a crazy experience, and you get a lot of experience out of it. So I worked there for about 3 years. I worked in radio. I worked for our podcast platforms. I did TV. I did what I do here for the TV station. I also anchored for the TV station. I did what I do here for the radio station. I anchored and produced for it. We did, in radio and TV, completely different. Well, no, they're similar in a lot of ways, but they're very, very different in terms of for TV, you can show, you show with your video, and that's how you tell your story. You don't have to be too descriptive with your writing. In fact, it kind of slows you down. But if you look at a radio script, you really have to do a lot more creative writing to kind of take your audience to the place that you're trying to show them. And you do that with natural sound, and we have a lot of that in TV as well. If y'all know what natural sound is. So with your natural sound, we use that in TV. We'll do what we call a nat pop. So good example of that, Sunday, church, I covered a church that had its first Sunday service after the steeple was blown over in the storms last week. And I had to use a lot of different nap pops, what we call, because there was all this music playing, and I was like, well, the music plays on, and I had a couple like quick clips of the music, and the priest was like, the word of the Lord, and I used that as a sound or a quick nap pop too. So just different things to be creative with your writing and kind of transport your audience. So in radio you use a lot more of that, but in TV it can really elevate your writing as well. So that's what I did at Florida. Like I mentioned, UGA has a really, really good program. I'm trying to think of where else in Georgia, because I'm still new here, obviously. But I know UGA is really good. Some other schools in the Southeast are Florida. Missouri has a good program. Let us see, Alabama does too.
The Georgia Film Academy is more for entertainment guys.
Georgia, I know they have, yeah, and I'm trying to think. There's they have Grady News Source as well, and I know that's really good because we have a lot of people in our newsroom who went to UGA. So, yeah, all great options, but basically, you gotta stay in school, do what you're doing here, and if you love what you're doing here, take a leap of faith. Try and do it in college. You know, if you love it in college and get as much experience as you can in college, great. And if you don't love it there, that's okay too. Find what you are passionate about. If you're passionate about film, go for it. If you're passionate about journalism and it's not for everybody, that's okay. Then do it. And if it's not film or journalism, if you want to be the next great chemist who discovers the solution to all the world's problems, go do that. My former roommate, she's doing a bunch of that with magnets right now, getting a doctorate. I'm like, glad you like that. But I like writing and I like editing videos, so that's why I'm here. Yeah, I know I just spat a lot of information at you guys. Any like college education related questions y'all have? Anything at all? Anything? No? Going once, going twice?
I have questions, but they're not college related.
Go for it. What's up?
This might be a semi-intrusive question. I'm not sure, but
I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Like, how does this sort of profession look income-wise? Like, what is the financial support situation with that?
Yes. So it is, at first, you're not gonna get paid much.
Right.
That's how it goes. And what my biggest suggestion, if you're interested in journalism, is go into it knowing you're not going to get paid too much at first. There are plenty of people who make plenty later on, but go to it knowing you're not going to make much at first, and then do your research on where you're going to go based on cost of living. And I know, like, in high school you're like, I don't want to think about that right now, but truly, it is something good to think about, because
Cost of living, we did something on that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
so cost of living in Macon is definitely, it's cheaper to live in Macon than it is to live in Bakersfield, California. And I have a friend whose first job is in Bakersfield, California. Don't ask me how she's doing it. I don't know how she's doing it, but she seems like she's doing fine. And then also, I mean, I have a friend whose first job, she lives on Long Island. She's an associate producer. And basically what she does is she helps write the show. She will edit, or she will write a block of the show, if y'all know what I'm saying. So news shows are in different blocks. So you have the A block, the B block, the C block, and then they're separated by commercial breaks. So for example, one day maybe she'll write the B block of the show. That's what she does as an associate producer. She lives on Long Island, and she makes, I believe, 50 grand. Well, that's on Long Island. Her rent is also $1,500 a month for a share of a 3-bedroom house. So she's like, oh, and then there's taxes too. So definitely there's a lot of research based on, and car insurance.
Ouch.
She has an older car. So there's a whole lot that goes into all of this. But if you're in the right place, you will get paid enough to get by. I am fortunate enough to be in a situation where I do get paid enough to get by. I live in a place where the cost of living is pretty low, and fortunately, my company and our station gives me enough so that I can be okay. So yeah, appreciate you for asking that question, because a lot of journalism schools do not cover that early enough. People are like, I'm gonna make thousands, and it's like, well, not right away. Now, later on, it's interesting. So doing what I do as an MSJ or an MMJ, as we call it, typically you are the low man on the totem pole, and that's just how it is. When you get to your next job, though, that's generally where you'll see a pretty significant bump in the pay. So you gotta kind of do your time first in the trenches, and then from then on, that's where you generally will get paid a little more. So yeah, good question.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? Because I can get into applications next, because that's a lot of fun.
Is it too early in the morning for you guys to be thinking about questions?
Just a little.
How exactly, like, what are the steps, like, you took to, like, actually get into journalism?
So, steps in how to get into like the job, or into how to,
A little bit of both.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I was in the high school newspaper, like I mentioned, and fell in love with it. Went to college thinking I was going to be a journalism major and I was going to work for a newspaper, and I wound up hating that in college. So I changed majors to broadcast journalism, and like I said, I got a lot of experience with WUFT, the on-campus platform, which was a PBS and NPR affiliate. Worked a little bit in radio, worked a little bit in podcasting, worked a little bit even on digital, which is print reporting basically, and did a bunch of the TV work. Had about 3 years of experience there before I finally started applying for jobs. If you go to a school that doesn't have necessarily a program like Florida does, because it's a very rare thing, then internships. Those summer internships are going to be the way to get as much experience as you can. And honestly, a lot of these news stations, they really, really, really want to help up-and-coming journalists because they want to help people get into the field. So if, I know 13 does internships, but obviously you got to be in college for it. So depending on where you go, apply for those summer internships, or see if you can shadow a reporter or an anchor for a day. In college, I had to shadow a media professional for a paper that I wrote. The paper wasn't exactly fun, but shadowing a morning anchor at a station that I grew up watching, that was super cool to me, and that kind of cemented that this is what I wanted to do and that I was on the right track. So once I knew that that's what I wanted to do, that's when I sought out all the experience. And yeah, so then after that point, once you start doing it, you kind of know, yeah, okay, I like this, or I liked radio a lot, but I was like, but I kind of want to be going the TV route. So I know I like radio, but I know I like TV just a little bit more. So just kind of feel out everything that you might be interested in. Then, at that point, it came time to apply for jobs. They say there's like a 90-day window, 3 months out from when you would start. That's when you start applying. So I sent what we call a reporter reel, which is basically, it's a bunch of stand-ups. If you guys learned what stand-ups are?
We're getting there.
Okay. So stand-up is basically when you are standing out with your microphone, like, yeah, you know, I'm at Dodge County High School today, and I am talking to these students, and they're really interested in journalism, and take a look, and that's a stand-up. So you have about a minute of your best stand-ups. So that's generally 6 to 8 stand-ups, and you can get creative, multiple shots, and that's what I like doing. And then you have your 3 best packages, just to show creative. So a lot of people will show like a really newsy, like breaking news package, and people will show like a featurey package. And then the last one is just kind of up to you. So what I did for my packages was a story about this dam on this river that is literally about to blow at any second, but no one's doing anything about it. So that was my really, really newsy package. I went out on the river with this captain who'd been doing tours on the river for years, and she told me all about it. It was really cool. It was a really cool day, except for the part when we were right in front of the dam, and one of the reporters who was with me was like, so what would happen if the dam broke right now? And she goes, oh, we would die. And we were like, can we like not be right in front of it when that happens? But like and I used that soundbite of her. She was like, yeah, we would die. I'm like, what? Just how calmly she said it. It was weird, crazy. But it was a cool day except for that point. So I used that package, and then I did a featurey package on, it was the last day of school at this school in Putnam County, Florida. It was one of 4 schools closing permanently. So I kind of documented the last day of school there, and that was my feature package. Then the last one, which was kind of your wild card, I was bored one day and nothing was turning up and I couldn't get video for the story that I was trying to do. So I went into Canva, if you've used it. It's basically clip art, a bunch of stuff like that. And I downloaded a bunch of files and I said, well, let's see what we can do. And I basically animated all of these clip arts to come in and just did the whole package with graphics. And I was like, here, I can do graphics work. So that's what I did on my reel. So you send out your reel to a bunch of talent agencies. There are a couple of them where the news directors pay basically for this team of agents to collect resume tapes and send them to the news directors. And that's what I did. I submitted my reel to a couple of those. I put it on YouTube. I sent it to the recruiters for each company. And then I started getting emails. And you know how I mentioned there's kind of a hiring shortage in news right now? Yes, I didn't realize how much of a hiring shortage there was until I heard from 13 different stations, and I was like, this is a lot, I'm trying to finish college. So that's what I did, and I did all these interviews, and 13 was what I went with because from the moment that I started talking to my boss, I knew she was someone who cared about her employees as people. She was going to encourage creativity instead of just pushing like news. She's like, well, we want news, but we want it to be creative. And then I also knew that the newsroom environment at 13 was what I wanted to work in. It's a really, really close-knit environment. Everybody helps each other, and it's been awesome so far. So I have no regrets about what I went with. And that's just something where you kind of just gotta trust your gut when you're applying for these jobs. If something doesn't sit right with you, feel it out a little bit more, but if you know it's not for you, then it's okay to say, I'm sorry, but I've decided to pursue other offers. And no news director is gonna fault you for that, because if you don't wanna be there, they don't want you to be there either. So yeah, that's kind of the process to there, and then I started working at 13. I got trained for a couple of weeks, and then they said, okay, you're ready, fly, be free. Not exactly. My first solo shift was I had to do a VOSOT, and then my second solo shift was another VOSOT, or I could do what we call a one-stop shop package. Jesus, what are they doing today? I'm gonna work phone, too many emails. Or what we call a one-stop shop package, which is like everything you need for the package is in one place. So if you're covering an event, so you know, a few weeks back we had the Cherry Blossom Festival in Macon, and that is what we would call a one-stop shop. Everything you needed is right there. So that was my second day, and then the next week I was reporting full-time, and that's where I've been for 3 months. So pretty fast-paced, but I was fortunate to have training in college. So yeah, long-winded, but there you go. That's kind of the process. Was that what you were looking for? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I know y'all are learning packages. The next assignment is to write a package, right? Okay. So that's cool. Actually, I'm really curious. What's that look like? Do they know yet?
No, my second period has done that.
Okay.
So they'll be able to speak more on that. We're getting there.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to learning about that. So I was going to say, because I approach packages kind of differently. I write the shortest amount of or reporter tracking that I can, because I just really like having the characters tell the story. So I will use like 3 words in a track and then a soundbite. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. You guys want to see the equipment?
Yes.
Yes, they want to see the awesome, expensive
So-
equipment. Can you tell them how much you think that equipment costs?
Oh boy, more than I make in a month. So this camera is a Sony NX Cam. It is honestly the camera alone is probably about about 3-4 grand. Honestly, it's probably a little more than that. So this tripod also is probably about $200. If it works, that's great. So tripod's pretty cool. You have your little, you can rotate to lock. It's pretty awesome. Better than any other tripod I've ever used, if I'm being quite honest. Oh. It doesn't lock like that. So set up your tripod first. You got your bubble over here that you gotta level. Camera. Let's throw her on there. In here, click it, so you know it's good to go. And, ooh, I should charge that battery. Okay. Also, we have our Pix Pro, which is a GoPro-ish kind of thing. And don't worry, I will get all of this way closer to you guys. I'm just trying to get everything set up. And then I've got my personal equipment. This is my DSLR camera. I like using this thing because the picture is so clear and crisp and it's so much lighter.
I don't know why you guys are looking at me. It's almost like you don't believe I know what I'm talking about.
You make the faces.
Because I also use that for my professional projects.
See?
And they've seen that. They see me.
See, exactly.
Now, how much is that camera?
This one was it was $650 minus the lens. The lens cost about another $150. This lens cost about $200. This is my zoom lens. And let's see what else I have in here. Oh, you know how I mentioned I have like 4 microphones? Well, here's a microphone, here's a microphone. Microphone.
Oh, wow.
And a microphone. So this one's cool. It connects actually to a mic port right here, or a mic pack here. This is what I would give to an interview subject. Put it in their pocket, run it up through the shirt, and flip it up here. This is what we call a lav mic. Any takers? Lav mic. So this is going to be really, really good for sound of one person. And it's going to cut a lot of that nat sound out when you're in an interview, except when it's windy. If it's windy, this thing is not your friend. If it's windy, this thing is your friend. I also like to use this if I need to get really good nat sound, but the thing I'm trying to record is far away. For example, I did a story at a construction site where they were hitting like bricks to break them up. And I really wanted the sound of them hitting the bricks, but I couldn't get close enough with my camera to get the sound on this mic. Oh, this is, I guess, mic 5. This is a shotgun mic on the camera to get your nat sound audio. So what I did was I turned this on and turned this on. It's wireless. And I put the camera next to where they were laying the bricks. What's up?
You ever forget to plug the mic in?
I don't need to plug the mic in, it's wireless.
Oh my god. I'll go to the camera.
So actually, here we go. You need a couple volunteers. Okay. We got one. You want to be the other one?
Yeah.
Alright, come on up here. So, otherwise, yeah, I've got no good bit of this, so I'm going to give you the mic. Alright, yep, hold it like that, and then generally, just one hand. You want to be like open to your audience, okay? And you come over here. And these are your mic levels. So, I want you to introduce yourself.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barrett Nardi.
Alright, Barrett, great job. So you see how we had the red line here? So that means your sound levels are a little bit too
Because I'm so loud.
high.
We got a hot mic.
So here's what you want to do. You want to hold it like, so you want to hold it like here, and if you're lefty, great. If you're righty, great. Yeah, do whatever's comfortable for you, and you want to hold it like here. You don't want to have it right here because that's gonna disrupt the mic, and then just here. But your voice was good. So let's watch it now, and I also turned down the audio level just a little bit. So tell me what you see now.
You want me to do the exact same way?
Do the same thing you want, whatever you want.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barrett Nardi.
See? But it didn't redline, right? So there you go. So that's how this works, but if you actually, I'm also gonna have you wanna go to that like corner over there?
Like here?
Yeah.
Or- okay.
And I want you to do the same thing.
Heck of it.
Or something different, whatever you want.
I'll just do something. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barrett Nardi.
So you see it was the same thing. Because it's wireless, so you don't have to plug it in at all. So yeah, it'll be the same thing with this mic. Thank you, Barrett, I appreciate it. You are welcome to come back.
The reason he asked that is because we have to turn ours on, and we have a bad history of forgetting.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Can you try to send it to my phone?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Like we'll record it the whole time and be like, oh my gosh, the mic wasn't on, so none of the audio will exist. We did that
We
yesterday.
really don't have wireless mics because these,
Right.
you can't run off phantom power.
Do that.
It
Right.
has to be something that plugs in.
No, I hear you there. My DSLR is the same way. So with my
Yeah.
DSLR, I'd have to turn the mic on. Actually, wait, no, I don't think I can. Actually, I don't think I have to. But it is wired. I would have to plug it in. So with the shotgun mic on my DSLR here, oh, there's no card in the camera. Well, that's nice. Well, I don't need a card for it today. So might be
Oh, they do
locked.
that too. I forget to put the card
Yeah,
in.
yeah, I do.
I have forgotten. Oh, if you want to count this as a camera, this thing can be your best friend sometimes. I have used my phone on more occasions than not. I have shot some of my best work on my phone. One time, I had to shoot on my phone because I left my SD card on my desk, and I still had to do the package. So we got creative. I had my personal phone, which I think I left in the car. Oops. And I had that on one angle, I had this on the other angle, and then I used my GoPro, and we made it work. This thing is really cool. It's not really a GoPro, it's called Pix Pro actually. So here, let's put it. Oh, and it's on a magnetic mount, so I can mount this to my car. I don't know if I have the grippy tripod on me. That's okay. Put it there. So it's on, right, and it connects through a Wi-Fi signal on my phone. And if it decides to work, we will see. No, it didn't work.
Wi-Fi signal.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's probably blocked here.
No, it just doesn't connect. I've used it here before. Come on, there we go. And connect. And there we all are. So this is my viewfinder. Inception. Yeah, so this is my viewfinder. It's really cool. There's a bunch of different things. You can take pictures, you can change the lens, how it shoots. I don't even know why they have these different things. I know you probably can't see this, guys. I'm so sorry. This is like a 360 thing. I don't even get it. But anyway, I just use the fisheye lens because that's the easiest thing to do. But it's really good for wide angles. I will shoot with this for cutaways, and I've done stand-ups with it. Sync the audio. It's a lot of fun to use. Let us see. So yeah, I've got that. Got wired mics. And I'm glad that you guys brought up plugging the mic in and making sure that it's on, because I have before, oh, that mic pack is dead out of nowhere, great. They like to do
Everything's
that.
just dying today.
Look, as long as it's not me, I'm good, you know? Alright, so. So I'm glad that you guys brought that up, because I was on a very high stakes assignment in Louisiana one day, and we were documenting recovery after the hurricanes out there. And we sat down, I was doing a story on this shrimp dock of all places. And I'm sitting down with the owner, we're having this great interview, and she's telling me like everything that's happened at her business since the hurricane. And I'm like, oh my goodness, great interview, probably the best interview I've ever done. It was an hour of audio, and I had to scrub through it later on, but I had a month to work on the project, so I was like, it's fine. Well.
That's why I be putting stuff in the news so late?
What's up?
That's why I be putting stuff in the news so late?
Oh, no, that was in college. It was a project for college. But for whatever reason, the microphone was not plugged into the camera. The people who I was with were like, yeah, we plugged the microphone in. Well, if they had, it would have recorded through the lav mic, and it didn't. So lesson is, even if you have 2 other people with you, and it's your interview, make sure that you check the camera, and make sure that everything's good to go to your liking, because at the end of the day, you have to put the piece together. And what do you mean by putting stuff on the news so late?
I be saying I put something on the news that happened like 2009.
Oh, okay. Stuff like that is if we want to follow up, if there's a new development to the case, or to the story. So if you're talking about like someone maybe who went missing in 2009 and it's like an anniversary of them going missing, then typically like on that anniversary we will do the story. Or let's say there's a trial for a crime that happened in 2009 or whatever, and you know, it just, because of the legal system, it just took that long to get the trial to actually happen. That's kind of what we're talking. That's kind of why things would be on so late. That's a good question. We do follow-ups a lot. So.
Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, now is the time to ask them, because you will be leaving at what, 9:21?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all have anything else for me?
What's the atmosphere like the building?
What'd you say?
Like, what's the atmosphere that you work in?
The atmosphere that I work in. So we're really, really fortunate because we have all these really experienced journalists. We've got Frank Malloy, Lori Johnson. My boss, Laura, was on the air for a while. If you've seen Raymond Tubb, he just anchored the noon show yesterday. Not that you guys would have seen it because you guys were here. But he's one of our managers. Bernie is another one of our managers. Has never been on air a day in his life, but he was a newspaper editor forever. Amazing writer, amazing mentor. He teaches you how to ask the tough questions. So we've got that. And then a lot of the on-air staff is like me, like we are just out of college or it's our second job, and kind of like, this is kind of like grad school if I'm being quite honest. So I've got these people with all this experience that I can learn from and who can teach me how to get to the next level. And also I have a bunch of people my age who I can kind of commiserate with if I have a rough day. Yesterday I had I think I tweeted today, no, with the GIF where it's like the room is on fire and it's like the dog drinking coffee. Yeah, that's what my day was yesterday. Everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Oh my god.
Yeah, couldn't get an interview till 2:45, and that interview was pushed back to 3:10, and then I had to get another interview at the same place, but that didn't happen until 3:40. Meanwhile, my VOSOP for the 5 was like done. I just had to push some video from the field for it at like 4 o'clock when I got done with that interview, but then I had to be live at 5 o'clock. And if you're live, you have to have your camera in your, I should have brought a DJ with me. It's a backpack that you go live with. It's super cool. It's like a little computer in the backpack, and it like pushes like a Wi-Fi signal out, and you plug into the camera. It's wild. But we don't need the truck anymore to go live. You just have a backpack. Anyway, you have to have that set up 10 minutes before the show, and then they'll be talking to you in your ear. So this is actually what I plug into my phone, which is in my back pocket, and then I run the earpiece up. So they're talking to me through that. But I have to do that 10 minutes before the show. But the problem is, I'm there 10 minutes before the show. My hit time, as we would call it, was 5:09:30, which so I'm 10 minutes into the show, which means that if my package isn't mostly done before the 5 o'clock, I have 40 minutes to finish my package and export it for the show. Well, at the time when I got ready for my 5 o'clock hit yesterday, I had written 42 seconds of my package script that needed to be a minute and a half. It also still needed to be approved. I needed to track the package, and I needed to edit the package. The 5 o'clock got canceled because of soccer that went into overtime, so they set me free and I went to work on the package. My package script got approved at 5:17, and I was exporting it for the show at 5:33. I do not know how I edited that quickly. Don't ask me how. The news gods were looking down on me. Until my computer died. That was fun. So my computer died at 5:34, and then at 5:38, finally I was able to plug it into my car and charge it and start exporting again. And then it took 45 minutes for my package to push to the server to air in the show. It finally pushed to the server at 6:17, and my hit time for the 6 o'clock show was 6:09:35. So my package did not make it at 6 o'clock yesterday. I just did a live post instead. So yeah, everything that could have gone wrong yesterday went wrong. But I have all these great mentors who can tell me what to do next time something does go wrong. So there's this program we use called WeTransfer, where you can quickly transfer video footage back to the newsroom. So if it's ever taking a long time again like that, I can just WeTransfer the file to a producer who can then put it in the show themselves. And then also, yesterday, my friend Molly also had a rough day, so we went out for dinner after work, and it was really great because we were just complaining about our days.